Hey Porter Kindergarten, Mrs. Branham coming back to you again today. I know that yesterday Mrs. Banks read you the story of the three little pigs, and today I'm going to read you the true story of the three little pigs by the wolf. This is his side of the story, and it's told by John Sieska, he's the author, and then it's illustrated by Lane Smith. So make a prediction right now. What do you think the wolf's side of the story is going to be? Do you think his story is going to be the same? I don't either. Let's see what happens. There's my title page. Everybody knows the story of the three little pigs, or at least they think that they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever told my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault that wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad, too. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold, and I ran out of sugar. So, I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor, he was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into somebody else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in?" No answer. I was just about to go home with the cup of sugar for my dear old sweet granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed, and I puffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed a great sneeze. Achoo! And you know what? That whole house of straw fell down. And right in the middle of that straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger, just lying there for you. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house out of sticks. I rang the doorbell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in?" He yelled back, "Go away, wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing that there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old sweet granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and the second little pig's brother. He must have had the brains of the family. He had built his house of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in?" And do you know what that little rude porker answered? "Get out of here, wolf, and don't bother me again." Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't even give me one little cup for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig! I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I sneezed once again, and the little third pig yelled back, "And your old granny can go sit on a pin." Oh no. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. So when the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down the pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a really bad scene. And the rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs that I'd had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all of that huff and puff and blow your house down business, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it, the real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. The end. I hope you enjoyed that story. Of course, it's a make-believe story. None of those things could really happen, but they're really fun to read about. I miss you so much, and I hope you have a great week.